It may have taken a tragedy of the Sandy Hook magnitude to thrust the gun debate back into the national spotlight. But with President Obama's promise to take action today, it seems that real change could be on the horizon. But what will Washington do, and how quickly? Here's ABC's Jake Tapper.
5 days after the horrific attack at Sandy Hook Elementary School, the president fleshed out what he meant when he pledged to the citizens of Newtown meaningful action.
I will use all the powers of this office to help advance efforts aimed at preventing more tragedies like this. We won't prevent them all, but that can't be an excuse not to try.
But for years, many of the president's strongest supporters have been disappointed by his relative silence and inaction when it comes to gun violence.
You had your position on renewing the ban on semi-automatic rifles that then Senator Biden put into place, but you didn't do much about it. This is not the first incident of horrific gun violence of your 4 years. Where have you been?
Here's where I've been, Jake. I've been President of the United States dealing with the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, an auto industry on the verge of collapse, 2 wars. I don't think I've been on vacation. I think all of us have to do some reflection on how we prioritize what we do here in Washington.
It is precisely that reflection, his aides say, that brought the president to the White House press briefing room, named after former Reagan press secretary Jim Brady, himself severely wounded in an act of gun violence more than 30 years ago. Today, the president said that his administration would look at the mental health, education, cultural, and gun control aspects of this tragedy. And to head the effort, he appointed Vice President Biden, an author of the 1994 crime bill, which contained a ban on some semi-automatic rifles. The Biden team, which will include the 4 relevant cabinet secretaries, will report to the president by next month, he said.
This is not some Washington commission. This is a team that has a very specific task to pull together real reforms right now.
The president also called on Congress to take real action now, banning the sale of high-capacity ammunition clips, closing the so-called gun show loophole that does not require background checks for many private sales, and banning the sale of what the president called military-style assault weapons, which the White House defined as high-powered weapons that can fire hundreds of rounds in minutes.
If we're going to change things, it's going to take a wave of Americans, mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, pastors, law enforcement, mental health professionals, and yes, gun owners, standing up and saying, enough, on behalf of our kids.
Of course, a ban is not that simple. Take a look. This is an M16 automatic rifle. It's generally illegal to the public. It can fire continuously. With one pull of the trigger, the bullets come non-stop, 30 rounds in 2 seconds. This AR-15 style rifle is legal and very popular. It looks similar to the M16 on the outside, but it's semi-automatic. One bullet gets fired per pull of the trigger. So this legal version takes 10 to 15 seconds to fire off 30 rounds. Some AR-15 style rifles were covered under the ban on semi-automatic assault weapons that Joe Biden wrote and that expired in 2004, but not all of them. We know so little about the AR-15 style rifle used in the massacre of 26 people at Sandy Hook Elementary. It's unclear if it would have been covered. These bans are technical and complicated and often contain many loopholes. This is the difficult political terrain into which the president now treads. But he said that's where he's headed.
If we are not getting right the need to keep our children safe, then nothing else matters.
This is Jake Tapper for Nightline at the White House.